billionaire CEO fired an old employee in front of everyone. But less than 24 hours later, what the old man was hiding changed everything.
Have you ever judged someone in just a few seconds? One powerful CEO did exactly that. But less than 24 hours later, a single phone call destroyed his pride and changed his life forever. Stay until the end, because what the old employee was hiding shocked the entire company. Richard Stone was known as the youngest billionaire CEO in the city. At only 42 years old, he had built Stone Tech Industries into one of the country's fastest-growing companies. Employees admired his intelligence, but they feared his temper. Richard believed one rule above everything else: results matter, feelings don't. Anyone who made even the smallest mistake risked losing their job. Across the building worked Mr. Thomas, a 68-year-old maintenance employee. For 35 years, he arrived before sunrise. He cleaned every hallway, repaired broken furniture, watered the plants, and greeted every employee with the same warm smile. Many workers treated him like family. Whenever someone looked stressed, Mr. Thomas would quietly say, "Don't worry, every difficult day eventually becomes yesterday." Nobody knew much about his past. He never spoke about himself. He simply worked with honesty and kindness. One Monday morning, Stone Tech prepared for the biggest investor meeting in company history. Executives rushed through the halls. Designers checked presentations. Managers rehearsed speeches. Everyone knew this meeting could bring a billion-dollar investment. Richard arrived early. As he entered the lobby, his expensive shoes suddenly slipped on a small puddle of water. He barely caught himself. His face turned red with anger. "Who is responsible for this?" he shouted. The entire lobby became silent. Employees looked at each other nervously. After a few moments, Mr. Thomas slowly stepped forward. "I'm sorry, sir. I was helping repair a broken pipe upstairs. I came down as soon as I could." Richard didn't let him finish. "Excuses." "But, sir," I said. "Enough." Richard pointed toward the exit. "You become too old for this job. I won't allow carelessness in my company." The employees stared in disbelief. One manager quietly whispered, "Sir, he's been here longer than almost everyone." Richard ignored him. "Pack your things. You're fired." Mr. Thomas looked around the lobby. Many co-workers had tears in their eyes. He smiled gently. "It's all right," he said softly. He picked up his old toolbox, thanked everyone for the years they had shared, and walked out of the building without another word. No one noticed that several board members watched the entire scene in complete silence. That evening, Richard celebrated what he believed would be a successful investor meeting. Everything had gone perfectly. He thought he had made the right decision. But early the next morning, while drinking his coffee, his phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. "This is Richard Stone." A calm voice replied, "Good morning, Mr. Stone. My name is Michael Harris. I'm Mr. Thomas's attorney." Richard frowned. "Attorney? Why would a maintenance worker need a lawyer?" There was a brief silence. Then the lawyer spoke. "Because you just fired one of the most important people in your company's history." Richard laughed. "I think you called the wrong person." "No, Mr. Stone. I assure you, I haven't." The lawyer continued. 35 years ago, your company was close to bankruptcy." Richard became quiet. "I know the story. Do you know who secretly saved it?" Richard said nothing. "Mr. Thomas." Richard froze. The lawyer explained that decades earlier, Thomas had sold almost everything he owned after inheriting a successful family business. Instead of starting another company, he invested nearly all of his savings into the struggling Stone Tech because he believed its founder was an honest man. He never wanted publicity. Instead, he requested one unusual condition. "I don't want an executive position," Thomas had said years ago. "I simply want to work among ordinary employees and watch the company grow." The founder respected his wish. Only 3 people on the board knew the truth. When the founder passed away years later, that secret remained hidden. Richard could barely breathe. "There must be some mistake." "There isn't," the lawyer continued. "Mr. Thomas still owns a significant share through a protected trust. More importantly, he has the legal authority to withdraw his financial guarantees supporting several major company loans." Richard's coffee cup slipped from his hand. It shattered on the floor. "If he withdraws today, the lawyer said calmly. Your expansion projects will collapse by next week. Richard immediately cancelled every meeting. For the first time in years, fear replaced confidence. He drove across town searching for Mr. Thomas. Eventually he found a small, simple house. No luxury cars, no mansion, no security guards, just flowers growing beside the front door. Richard knocked. Mr. Thomas answered with the same peaceful smile. Oh, Mr. Stone. Richard lowered his head. I came to apologize. Thomas invited him inside. The house was modest. Old furniture, family photographs, books covering every shelf. Richard expected anger. Instead, Thomas served him tea. After several minutes, Richard finally spoke. I judged you because of your uniform. Thomas smiled gently. No, you judged me because you stopped seeing people. Those words struck Richard harder than any business loss. I've spent years building this company, Richard whispered. Thomas nodded. But somewhere along the way, you forgot the people who built it with you. Richard's eyes filled with regret. I don't deserve forgiveness. Thomas looked out the window. When I was young, he said softly, I also believe success meant being the strongest person in the room. What changed? My father. He told me something I'll never forget. If people fear you, they'll obey you. If they respect you, they'll follow you. Silence filled the room. Finally, Richard asked, will you destroy the company? Thomas smiled. If I wanted revenge, I would have done it yesterday. I'm giving you something far more valuable. A second chance. The following Monday, every employee received an unexpected invitation. Mandatory company meeting. Hundreds gathered in the main hall. Richard walked onto the stage beside Mr. Thomas. The room became completely silent. Richard took a deep breath. For years, he began, I believe leadership meant never admitting mistakes. He looked directly at Mr. Thomas. I was wrong. He publicly apologized for humiliating him. Then he turned toward every employee. From today forward, nobody in this company will ever be judged by age, job title, or appearance. Thunderous applause filled the room. Richard then surprised everyone. He offered Mr. Thomas a new position, senior employee advisor. His job would be to mentor future managers about leadership, humility, and respect. Mr. Thomas smiled. I'll accept, but only on one condition. Richard nodded. Treat every cleaner, security guard, receptionist, and worker with the same respect you give your executives. Richard shook his hand. I promise. Years later, Stone Tech became famous not only for record profits, but also as one of the best companies in the country to work for. Visitors often noticed an old framed photograph hanging in a lobby. It showed an elderly maintenance worker smiling beside the CEO. Below it was a simple sentence. Never underestimate the value of kind heart. Moral, true leadership isn't measured by power or wealth. It's measured by how you treat the people who seem to have the least power. Because sometimes the quietest person in the room is the one holding your future in their hands.